everyone. Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us today. I think people may be having trouble getting connected. I know Spencer sent me a message a minute ago and said that he had trouble connecting today, actually. But we'll go ahead and get started. My name is Adrienne Staniford. I'm the Director of Operations here with Alternative Solutions. We started this all at-home Lunch and Learn series back in April, and as a way to help and educate and connect with individuals who are interested in learning about Salesforce and Twilio and some other CRM topics. Your feedback that you guys have brought to us throughout these months have been very helpful. For those of you that are new to our series, we're glad that you're able to join us. Today's topic is Field Service Lightning, which Spencer Gibson will be presenting. Spencer is a multi-certified Salesforce business analyst on the Absolute team. One of his certs just happens to be a Field Service Lightning consultant. So we hope you enjoy the presentation, and if you have any questions, put those in the chat box. And with that, we'll go ahead and get started, and I'll hand it over to Spencer. Thank you.
Thank you, Adrienne, and thanks everybody that joined us today. I know Twilio's Signal Conference is also today, their developer conference. So if you're watching on video, we hope you enjoyed that conference and learned a lot there. We'll get straight into things though. So Field Service Lightning is a tool or a set of tools inside of Salesforce. And the idea is around scheduling and completing service appointments and work orders that you may have. So mobile technicians is what we're really talking about. And the end goal is to end up with kind of a map in the middle of the day like this, where we've got our trucks out, we can see where they're going, they're scheduled out for the day, and we're accomplishing the customer's needs. So like Adrienne said, I'm a certified Field Service Lightning consultant, and Salesforce is actually changing the branding with the winter release that's coming up to just Salesforce Field Service. And Field Service is going to be broken up into three main areas. First, our customer service team. So or maybe even a web portal, but the idea is the customer comes in, we determine if they're eligible for support, we determine what kind of preferences they have, and we can log a case and have access to the history of that customer's account, what's happened previously, all in one place. And that's for our customer service agents. It can also be for a community portal through Salesforce Communities, where the customer can use self-service to go ahead and schedule their needs. Then we're going to have a dispatch team, and the dispatch team, some of this is going to be automated, some of the scheduling and actually sending the schedule out to the technicians, but we're always going to need some manual intervention to come in and optimize, to screen the process, and also just to develop the way that we're scheduling through the automation features that we have. And then we're going to have the mobile technicians or the field technicians that are actually out going to the customer sites. And we're going to need to make sure that they have the right equipment for the job, that we're scheduling them in a way that reduces travel time and keeps them productive. And sometimes we're going to need to set up teams with different skill sets where multiple people can be on site, either at the same time or one after the other. So this all starts with the customer service process, and that is a user going out to their computer and interacting with Community Cloud, or giving us a phone call. We go in and we're going to go ahead and log that interaction. So we'll log the fact that they called in, we'll create a case around it. If we need to dispatch a truck, we'll create a service appointment with work orders based on the different issues that the customer might be having. We're going to want to take in the customer's preferences into concern during this. So we're going to want to think about if they have a preferred service technician, or maybe even a technician that's required to be on site anytime we're doing something. We're also going to take into preference their time and date preferences, or take into concern their time and date preferences. And then ultimately, we're going to make notes around this. We're going to be able to go back and look at the last work order to see if there are notes saying, hey, don't roll a truck for this again. We know how to fix this remotely. Tell the customer to do this, or maybe send a hit to their cable modem if you're working in the telecommunications industry. This is kind of what it looks like as we're booking an appointment. So we've created a case. We've got the case number. Battery won't charge to its fullest. We've assigned that to a contact. We've got other contacts and cases that might be relevant listed. We've got activity that's happened on this contact and case recently over on the right-hand side, and we're booking an appointment. We've set up some rules within AI to recommend and ideal and recommended appointment slots. In this case, it's usually quickest, first in, first out customer service is our goal. And we can book the appointment. We can create work orders underneath that appointment in case there's multiple issues. And those work orders can be automatically, they can inherit work order line items that we've created in the system. Say we maybe know that if we're going to be replacing a keyboard or a monitor rather, we might need to bring cables with us. So that's going to be on the work order as well. The other way that we create work orders is through maintenance plans. And maintenance plans can be sold as a service. They can be automatically added. Say a customer buys a car from us, we're automatically going to give them 6 months of maintenance service for free potentially. And so we can automate the process of scheduling recurring appointments. So we can say every month we want to go out. We want to make sure it happens within several days of the 15th or the 1st of the month or the first week of the month. So we have different criteria we can set up there to automatically schedule these work orders. Now, before we move on to what's happening in dispatch and our field service technicians, we need to take a look under our hood real quick. And so we're starting out, we're going to have support cases or support contracts. And support contracts define that eligibility that we talked about earlier. So we can add a service or a support contract with the purchase of a product. Like I'm talking to you on an Apple iPhone right now. And so automatically for 45 days after you buy a new Apple product, you get phone support. So we're going to add a 45-day support contract with phone support. Then you also have the ability to purchase Apple Care for so much a year. And so if we make that purchase, we're going to go ahead and automatically add the Apple Care support, which is a higher level of support under their contract. When they call in or they're interacting with our customer community, we're going to go ahead and know what we can and can't offer them free of charge, or what we might need to charge for them based on these different support contracts we've built in. Another thing we're going to need is tools and equipment. We're going to do this through a couple different ways. One, we're going to assign skills to workers and we'll talk a little bit more about that later, but we're also going to assign required tools to our different maintenance plans or service appointment work items. So we know that we're going out and we're going to be replacing a washer and dryer all-in-one unit. So we need to bring the dryer connector for the air vent. We need to make sure that we bring a power cable in case the replacement dryer didn't come with one. We know when we create the work order that we need all these items. We also are taking track of inventory on our trucks, and we're managing that. So we know that the truck we rolled has all of these different required pieces because the system's working in the background to make sure we've done that. We're also going to take care of a lot of time-based automation in the background. So this might look like the maintenance plans we talked about earlier. It also might be knowing that a work order, we need the grounds crew to come out and bury a wire. Before we go in, we have the indoor team come in and actually route the wire through the house and install outlets. So we're going to trigger these things based on automation, not to happen at the same time, but to happen in the correct order and at the correct time for our maintenance plans. And lastly, we're going to be doing a ton of notification through automation. So when we schedule an appointment and dispatch it, we're going to notify the customer. We're going to notify the field service technician. That might be through a push to the actual application on their phone or mobile device, tablet. We might be sending an email to the account executive, letting them know that there's been an issue on this account. But we're going to be triggering all kinds of notifications, maybe even into our ERP system, our resource planning system. But lots of notifications going to go on the background to our customers, to our internal team, and into outside IT systems. So now we've got everything scheduled. We've triggered some background processes, and we actually have to trigger the background process that handles scheduling optimization. And Salesforce has built us a few high volume or high use case scenario scheduling policies. And these policies are going to take into consideration things like how far the customer has to travel or the employee has to travel, whether the customer has a preferred resource and how much we are concerned with that, maximum travel that we're willing to have the agent leave or go from their house, and even things like territories that we set up that we'll talk about shortly. Once we've actually scheduled, we're going to get something that looks kind of like this. So we've got Alan and Janice are on a crew, and we can go see the alpha crew below Alan. We have different things scheduled for that crew throughout the day. We've automatically generated breaks based on rules that we've created in the system to do so. And we can kind of see an overview of what our day is going to look like. We're also going to use work rules here to customize those scheduling policies that we talked about earlier. So maybe we're seeing an issue where we have certain technicians who are being scheduled to have 95% utilization throughout the day, which we've identified leads to burnout, and our best agents are often leaving us when we have them overworked like that. And it also doesn't give wiggle room for errors that pop up throughout the day. We have other employees who are working 30% of their day in utilization. So they're twiddling their thumbs, and we're paying them to do nothing. So we're going to go ahead and add a work rule around resource availability when we define the work rules elsewhere. But we basically defined a rule that says we want to look at how available people are. If no one, or if there are people below a certain percentage, then schedule things to them first, things like that. And there's all kinds of rules we can create and logic we can build around this to customize those scheduling policies, which ultimately the goal is we want to increase the utilization percentage. We want to reduce travel time between jobs, and we want to have the most hours spent working out of our day as we can in a reasonable fashion. We talked about territories a little bit ago. So this is if we were to look at the Gantt map, or the map of our service appointments throughout the day, we can take different layers here so we can see just where our trucks are, just where our appointments are. We can zoom in on any of these territories, so the different colored polygons we've created on the map to represent territories. We can filter for at-risk appointments and things of that nature as well. So here's kind of a look at what the dispatcher sees in their console. And so over here, we had our scheduling policy run, and the dispatcher realized there were some changes that wanted to be made. And so our dispatchers moved changes around, and we can go over here on the left-hand side, see all these changes we've made. We can click schedule to have them rescheduled by our automatic system. We can click dispatch, and that will send them out to our field service technicians. They'll get a notification on their mobile device that they can click open and see the changes to their schedule for the day. Or if this is for a future date, they'll just see that when they log in on the future date for in the morning. On the right-hand side, we have that Gantt chart that kind of shows us everybody what they're doing throughout the day and gives us a nice clear view. We can click map to see a more intraday view and come back to that earlier image. And this gives us a good picture of what's happening at the exact moment and if our trucks are in the right territories or not. During all this, we're going to have our dispatchers and shift supervisors assign skills and skill levels. So Jane's going to go in and do a cable install for one of our customers at Time Warner, Spectrum, something like that. She's been with us a long time. So as far as the cable install skill, we're giving her 95 out of 100. So that's saying basically, if we think it takes at 100% efficiency, an hour and a half to do a cable install, she's going to take 5% longer than that, basically, actually about 7% longer. But so she's going to take a little bit longer than 100%. 95 is pretty much as high as we're generally going to go on a lot of skills because you want to have that baked in time for potential errors. But that's saying that Jane's been with us a long time. We have a start date for that skill. So we might have our technicians go through and certify in cable installs once a year through our learning management or system or our version of Trailhead. And so on 6/14/2018, we're going to go ahead and set this to expire. And in a year, we can build notifications around our skills, and we can send out a month beforehand. Hey, make sure you take the LMS, submit it to HR through this profile so they can update your skill set, or submit it to your SIFT supervisor, what have you. But so we can use these skills to make sure that we're assigning work items to the correct agents and the correct teams. And we can also do it to predict efficiency and how long the technician's going to spend on site. So now we've created a service report. Here's our service report. We've got some a work order inside of a service report, actually. And we have a work order line item that we've created. So the work order line items we've automatically generated these through the system, though we can add them manually. And we know that we're going to have to drill to use our drill. We're going to have to drill cable holes, and we're going to have to actually run the cable. And we know that when we're drilling cable holes, there's a required equipment of drill. When we're installing cable, there's a required equipment of 500 feet or more of coaxial cable to be used. Once we complete all of these work order line items, we can go through and create a process builder that's going to go ahead and complete the work order. It's going to generate one of these service reports up top that we'll look at here in a moment that will show our customer what we did. It will also show leadership and supervisory personnel what happened on that job. Inside of that work order line item, we can actually calculate pricing. We want to charge our customers for the services that we're providing them at times. And so we've got a quantity. We've got one refrigerator that we're installing, and this is from Salesforce's training. You can tell because the person's clearly they've rented their whole life. They've never purchased a fridge, but we're charging $30 for this refrigerator with a 5% discount. So pretty good deal for a delivered refrigerator, $28.50. We can actually set up what we call products and price books around this that will store all of that information, and we can inherit it based on the work order. And that will even change based on maybe in Sonoma County, our prices are a little bit different than they are in Evansville, Indiana. We can set different price books up for the different areas with the same item. And we'll go ahead and say we know based on the area we're in and the price book that we're choosing that the refrigerator costs this much. So let's look a little bit at what the field service technician or the mobile technician actually sees in the app. So they're going to wake up in the morning. We have 3 service appointments scheduled so far today. There will probably be more pushed to us throughout the day, but we can see at 8, 9:45, and noon what we have upcoming, where they're going to be. We can kind of get an idea of our day. We can go into one of those individual service appointments. It's going to show us to allow us to get directions. It's going to show us information around that service appointment. And then we can drill into the individual work orders if there are multiple. And that's going to tell us more detailed information. It's going to give us notes from the customer service representative, and it's going to give us directions to get to the job. And while we're doing this, we're going to go ahead and share our location back with Salesforce during this time. And that's going to allow the dispatcher and team leaders and supervisors to go ahead and see where the workforce is located throughout the day. We're also going to be able to generate service reports that we talked about earlier. And so the service report, we can capture one or multiple signatures on that. We can go ahead and put pre-generated snippets of information based on what we know the work order is. We can append information to that. And that service report can be delivered to the customer. It is going to be saved in the system for the dispatch team, the customer service team, and supervisory and leadership personnel as well. And the most important thing, I think, is we're going to be able to see a feed. So we can use chatter feed to talk to customer service and tag people or tag technicians in the back office that might know something specific to this customer's problem. We can also look back through different case notes, previous service reports, and work orders that have happened. We can get really a 360-degree view of what's happened to our customer and what next steps we need to take and what steps might have already been taken that we don't need to go through again. We're going to use Process Builder a whole lot during field service creation and management. Process Builder is going to look at things like when fields change on a work order line item, do we need to update them on an account or the work order or service report? When we close out something, do we need to notify someone? Lots of things such as that. So we want to make sure that we're thinking about what we're doing and why we do it. And every time that we know that every time A happens, B needs to happen, we need to be thinking, can we go back into Process Builder and can we make that happen without human interaction or intervention? Can we use Flow, Process Builder, the automation tools like triggers and Apex code to accomplish this without having our agents and our field technicians go through work? And that frees them up to do real work, stuff that we can't handle within a piece of code or dragging some fields around on a page. One of the greatest things we'll have through all of this is knowledge. So when we're customer service is scheduling the appointment, when dispatch is dispatching it, when the field service technician is pulling it up at the location of the customer's problem, we want to intelligently display knowledge. So we're going to use Einstein Analytics, and we're going to say which knowledge article is most likely to help us solve this issue. We're going to be able to upvote and downvote these, so thumbs up and thumbs down them, and say, yes, this is useful, no, it wasn't. This is going to give feedback to our supervisors, our subject matter experts, our knowledge team to make updates. In addition, we're going to be able, as we close out cases or we complete work orders, we're going to be able to go in and attach the knowledge article that we use to that, which tells the system, hey, I know when this work order type comes up, this knowledge article has helped complete 6 out of 10 of these have had this knowledge article attached when they were completed in the past. Let's make darn sure that we show the employee that knowledge article because it might help them solve the issue when they otherwise might not. So this is just looking again at the shift management. And one of the nice things that's come out of Field Service Lightning is Salesforce has taken what they've learned from this and pulled it out into the other clouds like they like to do. So this is an add-on you can get in Service Cloud, in pretty much all the clouds, manufacturing, that kind of does the scheduling, and it's not mobile scheduling, so we're taking away some of the mapping piece in Shift Scheduler, but Shift Management lets us auto-generate those schedules. It lets us auto-generate things like breaks if we want. It lets us create notification around this and automation so we can go ahead and send Dylan a text at 7 a.m. saying, are you still going to make it today because this is a high value day of some kind? And Dylan can text back yes or no, or go out to our community club site with a link and update that he is going to be there for the day or for next week. This example, we actually see this is for Salesforce in San Francisco at their location there. This is scheduling some meetings that are coming in. So we might actually want the users to go out and say, hey, yes, I will certainly be there next week. Make sure it's still scheduled for me. We've also seen a lot of Field Service Lightning features be pulled out into the work.com and the Health Cloud with contact tracing. So here we see the shift status of our workforce. We've got 1.1 million out of 1.4 million possible employees activated today. We can see how many are getting sick. We can see an operations feed of tasks that we need to create, handle over on the right side, and some global information on the bottom. But we've really pulled a lot of field service features out and brought them over into work.com, into Service Cloud. Most of the clouds are offering a field service type of add-on now that you can extend some of this out to non-field service related opportunities as well. So where to go next? Trailheads, generally my first recommendation. I will say there's not a Salesforce curated Field Service Lightning or Salesforce Field Service trail mix, but there are lots of trailheads out there. And if you look up some of the Field Service Lightning consultant trail mixes, they might be a little over your head if you haven't worked with field service before, but they do give you a basic understanding of what we're working with. Sandboxes are going to be a little harder than this. You would need to reach out to your account executive and get them enabled because they do have a cost, generally speaking. But generally, if you reach out to your AE, you say, we're interested in this. Can you schedule me a demo and get me some temporary licenses to play with? They'll be receptive to that request. I recommend you look at the Salesforce Winter 21 release. We'll have a blog release coming out shortly after this video on what's changing in field service for Salesforce Winter 21. There's a whole lot of Einstein analytics added. There's a whole lot of features around tracking employee productivity. There's some neat knowledge related features. But yeah, take a look at that Winter 21 release, both for Field Service Lightning, but just in general, if you're using Salesforce, you can learn a lot by what's coming out in actually in sometime between tomorrow and 30 days from now next month. And lastly, feel free to reach out to Adrienne. She's our Director of Operations. She has a really good understanding of Salesforce and of our team here. She can get you started with some questions and then connect you with certified resources needed. So we're more than happy to take any questions you have today as well. We really thank you for coming. Feel free to put up in the chat at the top. Myself and Michelle Perinello, our Director of Client Services, are happy to answer any and all questions you might have. And again, Adrienne's email's at the bottom there, so feel free to jot that down or reply to her when she sends out your thank you for coming today.
Thanks, Spencer. Very informative presentation. And as Spencer said, if you guys have questions, please feel free to put those in the chat and we'll get those answered. If you think of questions later on during the week or on the weekend or something, just shoot me an email and we'll get back to you. You can get those answered. But we've got just a couple of minutes, so if you guys think of anything, put it out there. And it seems like maybe some people had some trouble getting logged in. I got another email that someone that was registered wasn't able to, so I apologize if you guys had any trouble today. And it's pretty quiet. That pause always kind of gets me. So maybe we'll just put a wrap on it. Like I said, any questions, just shoot us an email and we'll be glad to get back to you. And thank you guys for joining us today. We really appreciate it. Have a good one.